Okay, yesterday was day 5 in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial, and we had us some fucking fireworks. Thank you to Dr. Kelly Mcdana. I'm going to get to her in a minute because there was a number of other witnesses. This might be a two-parter today because there were a lot of people that took the stand. I've only gotten through 5 of them, but again, even though there's this parade of witnesses, I'm still wondering what the hell the prosecution's point is, because I don't think they're any closer to saying the why. Like, what was Lindsay feeling that day? You have to prove that she was in her right mind. I don't understand how they're gonna like close this loop, because they're just going in a weird direction, in my opinion. Let me get through these 3 physicians who treated the children. So the first one up was Michael Snyder. He was a physician at Beth Israel. He treated Cora, and kind of the same thing we always knew. She came in cardiac arrest. They gave her some epinephrine. They worked for 30 minutes to try and revive her, but couldn't. And at 7:28 p.m., Cora is announced dead. Now, the second witness was Andrew Caparo. He's a physician at Boston's Children's Hospital. He treated Callan. And he noted, I'm just going to put this here. There's a couple things I put in my notes. He said that Callan he had fixed pupils, meaning they were dilated and they were fixed. And when you shine a light on them, the pupil doesn't do anything. They're just fixed. And then he said that he had been intubated, and that he had been intubated with no pain medication. And in order to do that, like usually that causes a lot of pain. You need to sedate the patient, and the patient will fight you a little bit. It was kind of clear to him that there was some significant issue with Callan and possibly him not recovering. Then Dr. David Casavant, who's an ICU doctor at Boston's Children, he then took over the treatment of Callan. And he said again that Callan was completely unresponsive. He's unresponsive to pain, like they poke you in the feet and they pinch your arm to see if you react to any noise or talking. So they were saying his name, they were trying to get his attention, and he was unresponsive, and that his pupils would not constrict. And I think that last one is very important. Keep that in mind. And then finally, they tried desperately to save Callan. Callan did live longer than the other children. They continued to try and keep him on life support, but by January 27th, they realized it was a futile effort, and they took Callan off of life support. Next up is Dr. Kelly Mcdana. She is an ER physician at South Shore Hospital, and I can't possibly be the only one that notices that she gives some serious Jen McCabe energy. Am I right? Okay, anyway. So she treated Lindsay. She came in as a trauma 1. She did say that she noticed the wrist injuries. There's no immediate need to focus on the lacerations on the arm and wrist, because there were bigger issues that they were trying to deal with. With the prosecution, she was answering their questions, but you could tell she was downplaying things, or she was stating things in a very kind of cold medical, just the facts terminology, right? So when they said, well, what had you been told when the patient was on their way in? You're told the patient's coming. What have you been told? I was told that she had fallen out of a window from a height, that she was found down on the outside of the home. Like, these are just really like, it's like you're a cyborg and you're not even speaking about humans. She did say that she knew that she was unresponsive and that she had a spinal injury. So when they come in, they're trying to get her. She's not breathing on her own. They've intubated her to protect her airway, but there is no signs of a head injury. They did not consider her lacerations an immediate priority because, again, they're working on the head and the spinal cord injuries. They ordered CAT scans of her head, neck, back, pelvis, and then she starts with the "I don't recall" when she was asked if there was anything remarkable about the head CT scan. Then she said, and this is interesting because I wrote down the exact quote, "A decision was made that injuries were too severe to be treated at South Shore Hospital, so they've stabilized her for transport." And again, we're back to that part that I mentioned in a previous video. This was according to the prosecution, this was kind of a faked or a exaggerated suicide attempt. Yet this is now the second witness that has told us how serious these injuries were. So you have to have her medevaced via helicopter emergency to another hospital, because we can't possibly treat her here. But yep, it was just minor. This is like she's faking this whole suicide attempt. It's like, you can't have it both ways. Now, I'm not sure why the prosecutor goes down this line of questioning, but they do anyway. They ask her about hypothermia. That when she asked when Lindsay Clancy came in, did you notice that her body temperature was 82.1? And she says, well, I can't recall if that's what the record says. Yes, Kelly, we're telling you right here in court. That is exactly what the record says. What does that typically mean? She says it could come from metabolic disarray or some sort of exposure. And then she says up on the stand that she doesn't recall the reason that her body temperature would be so low. They did place her in warming blankets, and she can't recall if they raised her body temperature before departure. Now, keep in mind that they're supposed to stabilize her before they send her to another hospital. So before that medevac helicopter can leave the ground, they have to make sure the patient is stable. A couple of the things they need to make sure, like she's breathing through a tube, right? That there's no active bleeding. And then what they should do is they should try to raise, if they can, raise her body temperature to a certain level before they transport her. She can't recall if they did that. Now, what's interesting is Lindsay spent 4 hours at South Shore Hospital, and Dr. Mcdana doesn't recall if they raised her body temperature any before she was transported. Like, isn't that something, if you're the lead doctor on the ER, that you would know that? Now, I'll get to the cross-examination in a minute, but spoiler alert, he asks her, weren't you the lead doctor? And she pulls the whole, oh, well, we all sort of work as a team. Like, I have a partner and we work as a team, because you're only the lead doctor when things go right. When things start to go wrong or you can't answer questions, then it becomes, oh, no, 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 we work as a team. We've seen this one before. And she finalizes before they put Lindsay on the helicopter. She can verify that there was no surgery that was done. There were no cuts or open wounds on her head, noticeable wounds on her head, no substantial injuries to her head according to the CT scan, and that Dr. Mcdana didn't see any wounds that were bleeding. Now, I did promise you fireworks, but it's going to have to come back in the next video. I'm so sorry. I've run out of time. Please come right back.